How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on VTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, Still
Fenarian
and Volastel, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. And the video games industry continues to implode much as it has over the past few weeks. But first of all, if you would like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our, I almost said IRC, join us in our Discord server. It's most easily accessed by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on the logo on any of our recent show posts. It'll take you directly to our Discord server where you can talk with the hosts in real time during the show or at any other time.
Yes,
I haven't used IRC in half a decade.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Why'd you say that, man? Why? Nobody asked you
longer
to do
for y'all, because the last time I remember using it was helping work on the Worm audiobook.
Good grief. Now I feel old. Older.
Why would you do this? Bullying. Was bullying.
It's the truth.
So,
Truth is not a bully.
right. So on the stream today, I'm playing a bit of Subnautica. Unlike other players, I've played it on the stream. This is towards the end game at this point. They put out their new expansion into early access, and I figured I actually should go back and finish the main game before I even consider looking at that. There is a giant squid alien god that I have yet to see, and I need to find that thing. I have no idea what its whole deal is, though. Alright, I guess we just jump straight in the week, shall we?
Go for it.
So
my headset told me it was fully charged, and then it started beeping at me like it was not charged. So I had to reach and plug it in. Turns out, no, the battery indicator was just wrong.
It's lies. It's all lies.
Yeah, all battery indicators start lying to you after about a year.
Yeah. So, the word of the day, I guess, is moist up here. Or down here, whatever. Moist.
One of those words that is not in any way onomatopoeia, but it might as well be.
It may as well be. The only
Still
time
hate that word.
The only time the word moist should be acceptable is when you're talking about cake. That's it.
No, even then, I just don't like that word.
Nobody likes the word. So, yeah, Queensland in particular, but also a little bit in the Northern Territory in Australia at the moment, is being hit by stupid amounts of rain. Townsville is horribly, horribly flooded to the point where you've got one dam over 200% capacity at the moment. And that's with the floodgates open. So they're having a really rough time. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers with everyone in Townsville. Out here...
Don't worry, the bridge will never wash away.
It's gone. It's gone. Yeah. Out here, yeah, we're copping it, but we're not nearly to that degree. It's enough to really put a hamper on my business and my work. Because, hey, there are serious flood warnings for the town, and it is raining buckets. Let's go to the pub.
Well, what else are you going to do?
Not go to the pub?
But,
stay home and stay dry?
But the pub.
But the pub. The pub is all there is. Yeah, it's a really dumb mindset.
You need to get a desk job.
I've had a desk job, and it was the single most depressing and soul-destroying experience of my life.
Even more than drunk people throwing up on you?
Yes.
That's fairly impressive. You need a better desk job.
I was doing the show when I was doing it, and... oh, yeah. Yeah, running a a building firm office without the qualifications or support to actually do so, that leads to health problems and stress and all sorts of terrible things. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Ugh. So anyway, yeah, out here, roads are flooding. We've actually managed to drown one taxi because apparently the cover for the air filter fell off and water got in there. Good times. On the plus side, though, all those dopes who went to the pub last night had to walk home in the rain. So, ha 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 ha. You shall get no sympathy from me, folks. Alright, as for games, so aside from playing Subnautica and getting close to the end of it, I think.
Don't you have enough water in your life right now, Fern?
Well,
it sounds like you shouldn't be going diving.
Well, that's
in
okay.
A video game.
In this game, I've got a submarine. Actually, I've got 2. 3, technically. I don't quite need a submarine in real life yet.
You'll keep us posted?
Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't mind a submarine, though. Submarines are cool. Let's see if I don't crash this one getting through this gap. There we go. Nope. I think I might actually be going to crash my submarine. There we go. Okay, so the game of this week I have been playing is Kingdom Hearts 3. Because everybody's been playing Kingdom Hearts 3.
I've noticed, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're only in on this loop, Fern, so this one's all you.
Yeah.
Well, I loved Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but I had no real interest in rushing out and get 3 because I have no idea how that story.
That's okay. Even the most learned and sage people on the Kingdom Hearts story have no idea what it's about anymore.
There's the gayest gay man you've ever seen on YouTube that gives a pretty good breakdown of it. Go look up Klimps's channel.
Okay, well, that's one person who seems to have an idea of what's going on.
Now, it's a video series that's probably about 4 hours long if you total all the videos together, but he can break it down for you pretty good.
Oh, boy. It's worth noting that when you boot up and play through the tutorial of Kingdom Hearts, it will give you a bit of a recap, but it misses out a lot of stuff. So, you have no idea, you have no idea how the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 happened. It just kind of gets up to the point where Sora and Riku are fighting and then just kind of stops the recap. Which means it skips the entire bit as to how Roxas came into being, I think.
So, all of Chain Memories?
That seems like a pretty crucial piece of information considering the sheer quantity of time you spend jockeying him around.
Yeah. It gives a bit of a recap of Chain of Memories and misses a whole lot of stuff as well as a little bit of a recap of Kingdom Hearts 2, but it misses, the taking down of Organization 13 and how all of them are being turned back from Xehanort clones into actual people, except not all of them are, because reasons.
I didn't even know they were Xehanort clones.
Yeah, apparently they were all going to be Xehanort clones.
But some of them are girls.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I don't think he's overly picky.
That doesn't seem really to jive with the concept of a clone.
Yeah. It was something, soul fragments, heart fragments, yada yada, something. I don't know.
So, if you count up the number of girls, he's that percentage feminine.
I guess.
He is that in touch with his feminine side, if you look at the ratios.
But aren't the ladies of Organization 13 basically psychotic?
Yes.
Yes.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but we probably ought not to make it.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably a very bad thing to say. So yeah, it gives a bit of a recap. It gives a little bit more of the recap as you go along. Just as things become relevant. Sort of. But yeah, at this point, the Kingdom Hearts story is just complete nonsense, so you don't play it for the story, you play it for the spectacle now.
You play it to go hop around Disney Worlds?
Disney World rides, yeah. So, you've got... Good grief, you've got so many different attack options now that you'll never really just be stopping and mashing the X button for very long at all. So, to start with, all your Keyblades are dual mode now. So, you whack on something for a little while until you build up enough charge, which will let you switch to the other, more powerful mode. Which is some variation of either weapon or magical staff or, whatever. Personally, I just stick with the Ever After because you changed into that thing, into its magic tower, I guess it is, and just win. That's it. That's all there is to it. You hit everything, everything dies.
Yeah, outside of the super bosses on the hardest difficulty, I don't remember Kingdom Hearts ever being very difficult.
It's not. It's really not.
Well, Sephiroth kind of was.
Well,
Sephiroth was the outlier.
He was the extra boss.
Yeah. I'm playing through it on Proud mode, which is hard mode, and really I've only had one KO, which was on the Tangled boss.
I've heard on social media the Proud mode is in Kingdom Hearts 3 is a significant step back from even the Proud mode on the previous ones.
It is. It really is. That you could play Proud mode on the previous ones, and you would get a significant challenge. 3, no, you really don't.
I also had a bone to pick with Kingdom Hearts 2. This is the reason why I have more fond memories of Kingdom Hearts 1 than 2, is that in 2 I felt like a lot of boss battles boiled down to hammering a context-sensitive triangle button over and over again.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. There is still a whole lot of triangle button pressing. So you can be fighting, you can press triangle to change your weapon charge, or once that's actually starting to run down of duration, it'll do a big finishing move. If you whack an enemy that's marked in green, you'll summon a Disney ride, which can vary. Yeah, it's one of the rides from Disney World made out of fireworks, and they range from incredibly overpowered to utterly pointless.
So you summon Space Mountain on people, got it.
I haven't seen Space Mountain yet, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, or
Thunder Mountain Railroad. Yeah, Thunder Mountain Railroad you do on the Earth Titan in Olympus. So you ride this sparkly mine train around its head.
I see.
And, just win.
I don't know the rides in Disneyland. I only know the ones in Disney World.
Yeah.
So there might be something there. Florida one's Disney World and is not the one that's advertised as much as Disney Landing in Anaheim, California. That seems to be the one that people talk about more. So they could have rides there. But I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to Disneyland. So, yeah, you get some that'll pop up very rarely or only in certain circumstances, like the Thunder Mountain Railroad, which are really, really good. But the ones you just tend to get in the usual combos and gameplay are just kind of meh.
Do they get really dumb, like the Dumbo flying elephants or the teacups?
You do get the teacups. The teacups are actually quite good.
I see.
You just bounce around the arena, spinning, and then you do a big combo attack where everyone kind of comes together and chainsaws everything with the cups.
Do they make you do some kind of context-sensitive action while you're doing these? Like, do you have to rotate the analog stick like you would have to rotate the teacups?
Thankfully, no. It's press X to dash.
And it's a good reason that you weren't on the development team, because we don't need that in our lives.
You masochist.
It seemed so appropriate for the teacup ride. I don't know how they resisted the urge to.
If you get the pirate ship pop up, you do need to press X at the right times to get it to swing, but that's about the extent of it. I've only had the pirate ship come up once.
Ride. They censored the Pirates of the Caribbean ride recently.
Yeah?
Yeah,
what's all that about?
They took out a lot of the animatronics and changed some of the context to be more focused on Jack Sparrow and less about actual pirating. So there's like less people selling people and pillaging and something about women.
Right. So less actual pirates, more
brand exercise.
Brand exercise.
Yeah. More Captain Jack Swallows.
Yes. Oh boy. So overall, my experience with it has been pretty good. The story is, at this point, from what I can gather, Sora's trying to get Roxas out of his own heart, because that's where Roxas ended up somehow. I know, don't think about it. Just don't ask. Yes, because Sora and Roxas are technically the same person. Sort of.
Yeah, I thought, like, Roxas had to die for Sora to come back or something.
Yeah. Except now
that's what
Roxas can come back.
That's what a Game Man told me. Game Man told me Roxas had to die for Sora to come back.
Yeah, he essentially did, because Roxas was made out of part of Sora's memories.
The reason I'm pushing this is because the story of this game is not going to make any sense the more we spend trying to explain it, the crazier it's going to sound.
Yeah.
We're effectively wasting time.
Yeah, not counting the old members of Organization 13, some of which have turned good now, others are not. I've run into 3 Xehanorts. You've got Ansem, who is Xehanort. You've got Terra, who is also Xehanort. And you've got whatever the other guy is. Xehanort's Nobody, who is also Xehanort.
It seems an awful lot like it would be faster to list people who are not Xehanort.
Well, apparently Terra is... not Terra, Ventus is also Xehanort.
I thought they fell in the dark and that's what made them Xehanort.
Well, he was going to fall in the darkness, but Aqua threw him out and then she fell in the darkness.
Oh, right. Is that... I got her and Terra mixed up, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Is that why there are so many people on the internet posting "please step on me" memes about her?
Yes. That's exactly where that comes from. So, yeah, when I think it was Birth by Sleep, which was those 3, their game. It just kind of ends without never really explaining where Ventus went. But apparently he was off being Xehanort.
With everybody
else.
It's going to be subverted at the end. Nobody's actually Xehanort. These
Xehanorts
are different.
No, Sora.
Sora's going to be Xehanort.
The only true Xehanort.
I thought Sora was Xehanort at one point.
Is he? Like, on a regular basis, or just, like, as a summer job?
Yeah, like, part-time, full-time, what we talking here?
I don't know.
Which parts of him are part-time?
Riku spent half a game as Xehanort.
Only half?
I think it was only half. Well, somewhere between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, he spent a good chunk of time as Xehanort.
That's right. He was being Shadow the Hedgehog for a little bit and pretending to be Xehanort.
Yeah. So he ended up being Xehanort, and you beat up Ansem, who is Xehanort, who was also Riku. Does this make sense to anybody at all?
I've got the wiki up while you're saying all these names to try and remember what these people look like, and no, the answer's no.
Yeah, because everyone's some sort of silver-haired weirdo. That's about the extent of the character roster, is Disney character or silver-haired weirdo. So yeah, the story is utter nonsense, but they do a good job of capturing, the characters and the Disney settings. You end up going through the entirety of the Tangled story, which comes together really nicely. Especially considering, I think they've just repurposed the old Pixar models and used them for the game, so the characters actually look good. There is no more Barbie doll face, thankfully, which the previous Kingdom Hearts games had. But there is also, you can get to play the game of guess who couldn't get a voice actor. It even pops up in Olympus. You have Philatides, the Seder guy. Big role in the movie. No voice actor. So he turns into some sort of smiling potato creature. Yeah, I know.
Didn't Danny DeVito play him?
Pretty sure it was DeVito, yeah. So I guess they didn't want to pay DeVito.
Yeah, it was Danny DeVito that did Philatides.
Yeah.
So he's not one of the celebrities that is now deceased then?
No.
Because honestly, I've just lost track.
Yeah, I think they got the voice actors for Rapunzel and Flynn in, at least. They did not get the one for Megara, because she just sounds that bit off. She's a sounder like who's close, but the cadence is wrong.
Susan, no, she did. She's credited.
Maybe she just had a flu. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, maybe it's been like a million billion years since she voiced that character.
It could be.
It's been a decade and a half, dog.
Yeah. What about the Kingdom Hearts characters? Because Woody sounded horrendously off.
Hang on, I'm trying to find the behind the voice actor page for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, the website's going pretty slow today.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a good game, but it's not overly challenging. The story makes a whole really no sense, but you get to see some favourite characters who may or may not be voice acted. I've got to say, actually, the first two worlds you really get once you get going is Corona, which is Tangled, and Toy Box, so Toy Story. And going from Corona, which had spot-on voice acting, to Toy Box, which everything is just off in terms of voice acting.
Well, the people that voiced all the Toy Story characters are not doing them again, from what I can tell. So,
yeah.
Like,
I think the guy who did Buzz Lightyear is not Tim Allen. It's the guy who did the cartoon. So it's good, but it's not quite right. Woody just sounds right off. And yeah, even the little aliens. They did get Sarge though, and Ham, and Rex.
So, yeah, Jim Hanks does Woody, and Mike McRae, who does do Buzz in the animated series.
Yeah, I thought it was him.
Yeah. So does Buzz.
So yeah, that's about as far as I've gotten. I've done those areas. The Tangle area, extremely good. They even bring in Maximus, who I love. Maximus is awesome.
Is that the horse?
That's the horse.
I only saw that movie once, and it was many years ago.
Yeah, it has the best horse.
I've not seen any of the 3D Disney movies aside from Inside, and I wasn't that big a fan.
Inside Out. Yeah, Inside Out had its moments, I guess, but it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, that one.
But yeah, I think the next worlds I've got to go to are Monsters Inc. World and Frozen World.
They got...
Yeah, they did. Thing is, though, if they mess up the Frozen World, can you just imagine the
Well, I think I'm fairly confident that the entire reason the game was delayed as long as it was so that they could jam Frozen in.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'd say that that's one of the strongest influences on their timing.
Yeah.
They had... It's just going to be one big long mini game of you doing Let It Go like the Under the Sea level before.
Oh, that was awful.
It was.
That minigame was just dreadful. Why?
The worst mistimed music rhythm game you've ever played in your life.
What were they thinking?
On the plus side, Will Turner from the Pirates of the Caribbean films is played by Crispin Freeman.
Nice.
So I'm okay with those. We have one good voice actor.
We have the sweet buttery tones of Crispin Freeman.
Yes. He got out of Blizzard's pocket long enough to show up in something else.
I know, right? So, yeah, it's a good game. Just don't expect it to make any sense. Go for the spectacle. What else? That's really been my week. I did take a crack at Fattest Jaguars with Vol, but I'll let Vol talk about that. And I did give Piranha Plant a quick poke before the show as well. He's kind of weird.
I didn't because a little bug in the game, and I'll talk about that in the news section.
We shall get back to that, yes. All right, I'm going to call my week there because it's largely moist.
You keep saying that word.
I know. It's because it's true. Everything is moist. So, your week, sir.
My week at work was brutal, so I did very little playing of games during the week, because, my goodness, I don't know what they are hoping to achieve with the amount of disorganization that's going on. But anyway, so what did I do this week? I guess we'll start with Monster Hunter, since Monster Hunter is currently the game that I am playing when I have time to sit and play a video game. So the anniversary event is still on. So there's a gajillion events. There's not all of the events.
No,
I had
they missed a few.
There's a few that aren't in there. Particularly more recent ones have been omitted. Especially some of the really important ones, like the Assassin's Creed one, which has a mantle, which is incredibly powerful. But
yeah, I forgot that.
I don't think you can. I don't think that one's live, so we'll have to wait for that one to do a rerun. But yeah, most of them are available, so it's a good time to harvest some of the things you may have missed. And Fatus Jagras. Fatus Jagras, very fat.
Incredibly
He is a very fat Jagras. So I talked a little bit about it yesterday, particularly concerning his propensity to vomit decorations everywhere. And that has been incredibly useful to me in building up my, realistically, in building up my collection of specimen jewels, which seems to be all that I can get. But, yeah. He is not mucking around. My goodness.
No, he is not.
Food and I took a few cracks at him after the show last week, and got wrecked, again, and
yeah,
I got really sick of being the only one getting carted because I would always get carted from full health.
Yeah, he could one-shot you if you're not careful.
With armor skin potions up, and I run a tank build, and he's just not interested. Just like, no, you don't have any health anymore.
Yeah, to be fair, we did figure out where you were going wrong with that.
Yeah, so as it turns out, well, for those that don't know, there's a buff that is applied to your character based on the type of weapon that you're carrying. Generally speaking, you get physical damage resistant for melee weapons, and you get elemental resistance. Well, not specific, but you get resistance to what is typically projectile attack, except when they're actually hurling a physical rocket.
Yes.
You get an element defense from ranged weapons. And I had tried switching to the bow just to see if the bow was a more effective tactic dealing with the Fatus Jagras. It wasn't, because the bow has element resistance, and Jagras' attacks are all physical.
Yep. Especially his projectile vomit meat chunks.
Yeah. His projectile vomit meat chunks are physical. And his belly is physical, obviously. Everything about him is physical. And unfortunately, this means that if he touches you, you die. So, yeah, unless you are a master of dodging, and I most certainly am not, I'm incredibly, don't use a range. It's just basically, you'll make a mistake and die. That's it. There's no second chance. But yeah, so we tried a number of times, and I switched weapons, and we tried a number of times more, and still didn't really any.
Yeah.
He is a serious business Jagras. I had another try today, and after a great deal of farting about, eventually I managed to get it down, and I killed him. Well, I captured him twice and killed him once. So, yeah, definitely very doable if you're patient, and careful, and basically don't ever get greedy when he's fat, because he will just roll over on you and you'll be flat.
Yes.
He likes to roll a lot.
And to throw up a lot.
And when you kill him, you get even more decorations. So it's a really, really great way of padding your decoration count. Though I think that I've probably had my fill of having the crap beaten out of me by him at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also finally got round to doing the fight with Lunastra and Teostra at the same time, and that was rough and incredibly chaotic, and there was fire everywhere. It was difficult, and I went in with negative fire because, as you do,
you just man-moded it is what you did.
I got there in the end. It took a very long time, because I spent most of my time peeling myself off the ground and desperately chugging health pot. But, yep, I got there in the end. And I just realised how hard it is to cook meat in Monster Hunter when you hear the music.
You got to hear the little jingle.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
You can do it visually as well, but it's much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I actually drop crap out of my inventory? I can't figure it out now. Anyway, I also took a poke at Tempered Devil Joe.
Oh yes, I tried that. I went into it raw the other day.
Just no.
That was a mistake. Yes.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Despite the fact that I run a very tanky build, he reduces your health to about half with each hit, roughly speaking.
Oh yeah.
And if he knocks you down, then he can just one-shot you. So.
Devil no.
Yeah, that's a big old-fashioned nope. You don't want to be the focus of his attention. Technically speaking, every monster in the game is soloable, but a lot of them, like Tempered Elder Dragons, for instance, are basically not a practical. It's not a practical thing to solo them on the regular because you simply can't afford to be the target of their tender loving care 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too. It's not practical. You're going to get sooner or later. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get smooshed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I reckon that aside from, building up my repertoire of weapons and making a few tweaks, I'm sort of in a good position to start Iceborne, aside from the fact that I still haven't killed any Tempered Elder Dragons. So that's going to be my next big focus, is to kill Tempered Elder Dragons, get some stream stones, start doing some augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was needlessly cruel of them to make stream stones weapon specific.
Yeah, that's annoying.
That was really unpleasant as far as discoveries go. Yeah, especially considering I can't use very many weapons. Like, I'm not very good at any of them, and the only ones that I'm even passable with are the great sword and the bow. So yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe, that one.
Yeah.
What else did I do? So the prison tower prisoner blah 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 blah. The Edmund Dantes event has, for most people, it's hit its climax and that's done now. I could not think of a good plan, to do the challenge event, and so I had the two default plans. Number one, stall for eternity and wait for Edmund Dantes to die of old age, and number two, try the meme team and see how it runs. I went with the meme team in the end. I've never run Double Merlin, but now I know why people run Double Merlin when they want to just brute force something they can't figure out how to beat, because it is, provided that you don't get a Merlin unexpectedly critted out of existence, it's extraordinarily stable once it gets going. It's sort of as stable as a stall team, well, not quite, but nearly as stable as a stall team, and you don't have to, leave aside doing damage. So I ran a team which was basically Merlin, Martha, and Martha punched everything, and I swapped Martha out for Arturia for the final wave, because the final wave was an Avenger, and I didn't want Martha getting wrecked for no reason. And that went fairly well. I made quite a few mistakes early on because I'd never run Double Merlin comp, so I wasn't sure how to operate it, and I overbuffed in some places, underbuffed in others, used Noble Phantasms where I should have skipped using Noble Phantasms, because that's one of the characteristics of the Double Merlin build, is that there are often occasions that you should just avoid your Noble Phantasm because it's gutless compared to what you could be doing otherwise. It's not very intuitive, but that's the way it is. So yeah, I've got through that. I got my 3 tickets, accumulating tickets, bought more tickets from the monthly shop restock. So I reckon I'm about as well positioned as I'm liable to get for the Valentine's event, where I will probably blow most of my accumulated quartz and tickets on trying to get Mysterious Hero and X Alta.
So last year's Valentine's event, if I recall, was Capture Master and Stuff Them Full of Chocolate. It's
just a rerun from what I've heard, except they've added Valentine's events for all the new servants, for people who want to get chocolates from their waifu, and they've also added events for all of the male servants,
right,
for people who want to get chocolates from their husbando. Japan, on the other hand, is getting a rerun, except voice acting has been added to all of the Valentine.
Oh no!
For their one. So lucky for some.
As if it wasn't silly enough before.
You can always get more silly in the Type Moon universe.
Yeah, no saying something is too silly is usually just laying down a challenge.
Yeah, they did make Carnival Phantasm up.
That they did.
So yeah, I didn't play very much of the Valentine's event last time because it was pretty much just. I think that I had just started and I basically didn't have any servants worth a damn, so I was unable to really participate because anything more difficult than like the level 20 content, I didn't have any servants above that level, so it wasn't going to work. Yeah, but I'll be looking forward to taking a proper run at it this time. What else? I just really didn't do very much this week. So it's an exhausting proposition. I haven't watched much of the anime for this week yet either.
Yeah, I did watch a little bit. Like, Legend of Shield Hero is really getting good.
Yeah, I've heard that everybody's raving about it, about episode 4, which I haven't watched yet.
It's a kick in the feels, is what that is.
Yeah, and I was astonished to see that that Crunchyroll has had the presence of mind not to downplay it. Obviously, they did not like the response that they got from downplaying other favorites.
Yes,
and for Crunchyroll to move out of sync with the opinion at ANN is incredibly unusual. So, yeah, I'm very curious as to whether or not they're going to have a change of heart on this. I doubt it, but maybe they're just going to, sort of temper their wokeness a little bit so that they aren't, being woke in plain view of everybody. Because honestly, it should be starting to catch on with some of these people by now that get woke, go broke is a real thing, and you can't just ignore it because you don't like it.
Yeah.
You can try and view yourself as a force for change all you want, but you've got to stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope that continues because I was really unimpressed to see how far Crunchyroll had fallen when I didn't think they had very far to fall, considering they're just an illegal streaming site gone legit who doesn't offer. Well, they were legitimately an illegal streaming site at the time. I'm not making a comparison here. They actually were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like them as a service. I've soured on them mainly because in the time that I subscribed to them, they haven't managed to improve a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with that money? Oh, you're funding social justice warrior projects, all that thing. But yeah, I would like for them not to be so much of an echo chamber that they can realize that you actually have to respond to your user base if you want to keep it.
Improve your service over time. Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, otherwise they're just gonna take the same sort of approach that the likes of Kotaku and that always did. And ANN went the exact same way. I've always thought it was very, very strange considering how there's not really a lot of synchronicity between Japanese cultural attitudes and Western ones, yet people who are entrenched in a fandom centered around Japanese intellectual properties still thought that they could impose their particular spin on cultural mores onto another country. It seems like a very strange thing to do. If you're you are on one hand reviewing cheesecake anime and on the other hand saying that cheesecake anime is demeaning to women, Like, how do you even have both of those? Like, you're in the wrong business. Like, you are giving money to these things that you denounce. So
yeah,
it's.
I think everyone's just kind of waiting on a new competitor to come along. Like Amazon had their crack and they ruined it. Netflix, did okay, but no one's really got that same market share.
I feel like
some problems.
We've got a problem with the way like exclusivities work, basically. And I gather that this is something like what cable TV went through once upon a time, but there's just the situation where instead of having a true competition in the conventional sense where people try and improve their service, the only thing that needs to be improved, the only thing that is changing is which particular service is bidding on which particular shows, which doesn't actually help the consumer get a good service at all, because they just have to pay for increasing numbers of different services, have increasing numbers of different apps, that sort of thing. And as we'll talk about a bit later, this is a problem which is rapidly invading the gaming space. So,
sadly, yes.
Yeah. I would love to take my money elsewhere because I don't approve of Crunchyroll's, putting the icing of politics on everything. But there's no competitor that offers the same shows, even if they could theoretically offer a better service, they don't provide the right content. So yeah, I really don't want to go back to pirate. I've never liked it. I've never really liked it. It's always been something that I found to be distasteful for a whole range of reasons.
Yeah, if I like something, I want to be able to support the people who made it.
Yeah, it's very. It was the thing that highlighted most to me before I really understood the deal with Steam. It was the thing that highlighted the most to me. It's piracy is a service problem. Because while there's always the people who just pirate everything just because they can. I mean, I've known plenty of those.
A few.
But most people have got money and they're willing to spend it on things they like. They have a luxury budget, and it's just a little bit. It's a little bit sad that we've got this situation where that's basically an unmet market. Like, they don't have something that gives them what they want. Every time somebody starts to float to the top, they find some way of screwing it all. But yeah, we can dream, but the market doesn't seem to want to solve the problem. Just
they don't want to take our money.
Yeah, and I find this a lot, and it's something that I found the most with music, is that the way the licensing works. Like, I can want to spend money on music as much as I like, and it won't make a blind bit of difference because, in practice, I can't buy the music I want because there'll be some license.
Yeah.
So how stupid is that, really? I mean, I'm trying to give them money. That's not the problem. The problem is that they won't take it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just throw the money at the screen. It's not going through.
It's not like we don't want to pay for all things. It's just we can't, or we have severe disagreements with the service that's provided.
Yeah, but no getting around that now. We'll just have to wait for somebody to, realise that actually the market's not set in stone. You can actually outcompete other people, and competition's important to keep all of the services healthy.
And actual competition, is ultimately really good for the consumer.
Yeah, but it has to be sort of competition on a level playing field, where it's not competition unless both sides are attempting the same thing. That's what makes it competition. If they are both basically just trying to find ways to carefully step around each other and make money without stepping on the other one's toes, then you're not actually going to get situation where you've got competition and the odds on things will.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
Like duopolies are almost always worse than monopoly.
Yeah, this is the state of the internet service providers in the U.S. and what I and a few others call a pseudo-monopoly, where they just agree not to step on each other's toes, even though technically on paper they are, air quote, competing in the same area. You wind up with terrible deals with everybody and terrible service with everybody because nobody has to actually improve their infrastructure or improve their service to keep you as a customer.
Yep.
Anyway, what else did I do this week? I'm not sure I can really think of anything. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I get home and I'm like, you know what? I don't have the energy to do anything. I'll reread some old book or watch some old anime. Pass out. I don't like being up. Sucks.
Yeah.
Don't grow up, kids. It's bad for you.
Tis indeed.
You get more money and you lose all the time in which you would spend.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're only 50 minutes in, so I don't think we should take a break.
Yeah, go for it, Ari.
All right. I ain't got a whole lot for you either. I have taken so much extra work from the start of this year that I'm actually getting a small pay raise.
Nice.
I've been taking on so many extra hours. There's been so much junk to do. I'm literally getting in there at 7 o'clock or earlier and working until 5 or later every day, plus being on call afterwards. Even if it's just sitting there answering the phones, because somebody's got to be there to do work. And it's incredibly frustrating at work, because there are other people that could be sharing the workload and giving the rest of us free time, the few of us that are doing work. But no, they're coming in and bringing their kids to work instead of, doing their job. So it's double frustrating. But on the bright side, I am getting paid more for it. Goes to the house fund. I guess the house fund's growing quicker. Yay. But it's not something I can do anything with right now. With the time I have had, I finished Yakuza Kiwami. It is much shorter than Yakuza 0. And I did not do any completion shenanigans this time because I didn't have... Basically because of Mahjong. This would be a different story, and I'd be telling you I was still trying to complete the game and would probably get to it and finish it by the end of the month if Mahjong wasn't a thing. But that is 20 hours of free time I don't feel like sinking into Mahjong. So...
It's a marketable.
So, yeah. Yakuza Kiwami has a bunch of interesting things going on with it. It's an update of the first game. The main story has a bunch of interesting twists and turns coming from Yakuza 0. They have added a whole lot more stuff to give you context to the story that's been going on, and a whole lot of stuff that calls back to Yakuza 0 that I mentioned before. But there's a few quirks with this game. The important one being the Majima Everywhere system, where a former playable character, Majima, from the last game, who stole the show and ran away with it in Yakuza 0, can literally come out of trash cans and out of manholes and jump off of roofs and walk around a police uniform and stop and search you and attack you if you have a weapon. That is crazy. Yeah.
Is there any particular reason why, or is he just doing this just for the giggles?
The reason is Kiryu gets out of prison because he goes to prison in the first game. And when he gets out, he's weaker. He hasn't been fighting on the streets as much. He needs to get himself roughed up a bit to get his power back. So Majima's like, I'm going to train you on the streets by stopping you at random points and interfering with your life. And at any time throughout the game when you're wandering the city, there can be a Majima. And you'll just hear, Kiryu-chan, Kiryu-chan. And you'll start looking around the minimap and around yourself in the area to see anything that might be shaking or him to show up on the minimap because you know he's nearby. He's going to come harass you about something. They get really silly. He'll start challenging you to mini games, and this apparently counts as combat training. Like, he will show up at the Pocket Circuit Stadium and decide he's going to get involved in it just to challenge you.
It is Yakuza.
Yeah, so that is the sillier part of the game. The main story is all serious business and not nearly as good as Zero.
Wow.
Because it's a retelling of a 2004 video game. And coming off of Zero, the story is way weaker, and the boss fights, just because they're remakes of the first game, they ain't very good sometimes. Kiwami is quite the step down compared to Zero in general, I feel. And, like, to emphasize, there are some bosses there that will be, like, on a rooftop. There's one that sticks out particularly. He's got a red coat, and he wields a bunch of different types of guns. And he rolls around constantly.
That sounds very familiar.
Well, he's not Dante, no.
Oh.
Not even close. But the thing is, he can shoot while he's rolling, and he has pinpoint accuracy, and if you're hit by a bullet on any difficulty, you go into a crumple state and have to mash X to stand back up. But the problem is he never stops rolling, ever, and you have no way to pin him down and get him stuck in a corner or anything, because he'll just roll through you and go clear through your character model.
What?
So he's going to just keep putting you in a knockdown state, and the only way you can beat this guy is to sit there and chug health potions the whole time and just hope you land enough stray hits to a point where you can build up heat meter and do a heat action on him and break a pipe over his head or something, because you're not going to punch him down normally, and most of the fight you're going to be sitting there mashing the X button to stand back up because you got a bullet in your gut. But it's okay, because energy drinks heal you. So just drink that monster and your everything's okay. But yeah, the gameplay in general is a lot like that. They're just poorly designed fights like that all over the main story. Bosses in general have a lot more super armor and much bigger health bars, because they really remade the game 1-to-1 with the first game. And that would be fine if the super armor was consistent, but whether it triggers or not is about a 50% chance on any given hit.
Right.
So you have no idea if the attack you're making on any boss is going to trigger its stagger state, or if he's just going to keep going and combo you to death despite you getting a clean, solid hit on him. So there are problems like that all throughout the main game. In general, I would say that the way I wound up going through the game is the right way to do it. After you come out of Zero and you want to get into the main story of the game, just play through Kiwami's main story and the sub-stories if you like, and skip all the extra garbage, and don't waste your time with this game. Because it's just not as good. It'll feel like a huge step down coming off of Zero, and it does. And it is very much so a huge step down. There are parts to like about it. The story's okay, but it's a 2004 story. So it's generic crime drama, gang warfare stuff. Like, oh no, somebody killed the Don and you took the rap for it. And now you gotta come back and figure out why the guy you took the rap for is suddenly evil.
I wonder why.
And figure out the conspiracy with 10 billion yen. It's not super duper interesting. Not nearly as interesting as figuring out the histories of Kiryu and Majima from the last game. And yeah, apparently Kiwami 2 is supposed to be a lot better, and it's also built off the Yakuza 6 engine instead of the Yakuza 0 engine. So it's a much more modern engine. So I'm looking forward to trying that out and seeing what happens, because I do enjoy the characters in the setting, and especially the sub-stories. But in general, I felt like Kiwami itself, the first one, is a huge step down from Zero. But there's a lot of praise for Kiwami 2, and people are saying it fixes most of those problems, and they actually pay attention this time to correcting issues like that, because that apparently is common criticism, that they did not do enough to fix some of the game's jank, despite being completely remade in a new engine. And this shines through when you compare the original game to Kiwami after you finish it, where if you look at some of the cutscenes, the ones that are shot-for-shot recreations from the first game just look really bad, as opposed to the cutscenes they made to give context to the stuff that happened in Zero, where some of the ones they remade shot-for-shot are just characters barely emoting with their body and mostly moving their mouths. Yeah. And the ones they remade to give context, or the ones they made fresh to give context to the stuff in Zero, have fully animated emotional weight behind them, where the characters are emoting and falling to their knees and screaming to the sky, and it's much higher detail in general. But if it's just a remade scene, it doesn't look good at all. If they move their mouths, if that's about it. If you get anything more than that, you're lucky. Like, there's one scene that's a shot-for-shot remake of the reveal big bad at the end, and it's just him walking, like, a little bit back and forth in front of his helicopter, barely predating at all, monologuing to you with just his mouth moving.
Oh dear.
It doesn't look very good. And this scene goes on for like 20 minutes.
Dear.
It's a pain. But yeah, and also this game has a weird fascination with cross-dressers in its sub-stories. Like, there are, no joke, like, at least 7 sub-stories that revolve around some guy dressing up as a girl to trick Kiryu in some way.
That's like one of like the top 3 Japanese comedy tropes.
Also, yeah, British comedy trope.
Yeah, like Kiryu goes to a strip club to see his buddy's girl dance there, and she does her dance, and they're like, "Oh, let's stay and wait for the next one." And some ugly chick comes out, and it turns out the raincoat she was wearing actually reveals she's this like hairy guy in a Speedo with a gun strapped to the back of the raincoat because he's an assassin here to shoot Kiryu.
Okay.
And they just pull this gag over and over and over again, to the point where the Majima Everywhere quests have quests for the Majima Everywhere system as well. And one of them is, I think I mentioned this last week, where Majima actually dresses up as a hostess for a cabaret club, and Kiryu's like, no, if you're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. just to make him have to suffer through the consequences of actually trying to go through with this trope, because it gets played so much in the game and it just gets worn out real thin real fast. Like, the first 4 or 5 times it was funny. After that, it starts to wear on because they play the joke just too many times. But yeah, in general, not a huge fan of Kiwami. Definitely play 0, maybe even skip Kiwami and just, watch the cutscenes or something. It's really not worth sitting through some of these boss fights and some of these levels. And even some of the sub-stories. Most of them are really, really short and don't have enough of a payoff compared to what you had in 0. So, yeah. I will be playing Kiwami 2 eventually. I wanted to move into it right away, but I've just been too busy this week. I mean, I'm glad both of my mobile games that I play don't have very much going on right now, because I ain't had any time to really do anything. Yeah. I did the Dante's event as well, and for RP reasons, I used Dante's as my main attacker and did I think Waver Mash. I had Merlin and Bond Herc in the back ready to go for the super duper hard quest, but Mash just decided that they didn't need to come in. She was going to put the whole team on her back, and Mash carried me all the way to victory.
She's good at that.
Yeah, like, didn't need them. She just kept putting gas in Dante's tank with them attack buffs, and just nobody ever took any damage. So, once the Lord Camelot started, that was it. Nobody took enough damage to die. So I had the OP characters in the backline ready to go, but didn't need them. Had Mash, and Dante's helped negate the ruler problem that happens in the later waves. So
he's an Avenger, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the ruler roadblock that most people do because the class of my attacker. But yeah, so that kind of surprised me that worked as well as it did. I haven't really used Mash in a challenge quest before.
Well, like we were talking about yesterday, the main difficulty that the bulk of people have in that fight is not bringing down Armakusa quickly. The fact that you had a decent Avenger attack to go to town basically trivializes that fight. You got to keep in mind that people didn't have Avengers.
Yeah, but this quest also didn't exist in its current form at that time, so...
Yeah, but I mean, you still have to fight Avengers. You still have to fight rulers at several other stages of this event. Like, it was a much scarier proposition back then. Because this challenge quest is basically just a boss rush.
Yeah.
So the proposition of having to fight 2 rulers at once back when there are no Avengers is a lot nastier. So most people who just wanted to clear it and weren't interested in doing any shenanigans just took Merlin Jolter, and that allows you to clear it in about 20 or less turns. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, I have no Avengers to speak, and we will not speak of the one we do have. So
I'm about to say, you got the mango.
You got the Angry Mango. Let's never speak of the Angry Mango again.
The self-described weakest servant in existence.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, so I got my Dante's, and yeah, I'm basically on hold in FGO, just farming Dragon's Fangs out of Deming, or wherever it is. Just killing wyverns with my AP whenever it pops up, and that's all I'm doing
wyverns.
in it. Yeah, I need a lot of wyvern fangs or dragon fangs or whatever they're called. The baby dragon man. I need like 140. They somehow crept up on me as my material block. I just lost track of them.
I'm pretty sure that it's still going to be pages for me in the end when I attend back to leveling skills. It's always pages.
I had built up enough mats to get Dante's fully ascended and level up one of his skills to max before the event. So my QP pocketbook took a pretty big hit. But yeah. And that's really it. Not a whole lot of stuff's been going on at Idaru's, just more of the same events. The events are on a schedule, so the same ones I've talked about before will just rotate. And I haven't really played because I just don't have time this week. Or the week before, or the week before that. It's just, this is the whole start of this year has been really rocky in terms of free time. But I've been doing what I can. But that's been playing through during Christmas break, a game I'd already played to death as a kid, and the 2 Yakuza games.
Yeah.
So, and Yakuza 1 is a really short game if you don't do any of the extra junk. So that doesn't even really count as finishing a game. It took me like 2 days of free time to do all the sub-stories and the main story. Yeah. So that's about it. I don't really have any other media to talk about.
All right. In that case,
now we can go to a break.
Yeah, we should take a break.
Yep. So we're gonna go to a break, folks, and we'll be right back. And we're back with news now. And, we're going to have to change the shtick. The video games industry implodes.
Yeah. Gonna be a bit of an issue for us.
Yeah.
So
we are in what is the beginnings, I think, of the great game crash.
I don't know. I think that basically we're just in the midst of a crash, which is happening in slow motion. Like the market volatility is not such that it will happen all at once, because there's nobody a billion ET carts.
Yeah.
But
although we do have a billion nylon bags.
No, we don't. Oh wait, no, that's canvas. Never mind.
Yeah, we don't have
it's
canvas
canvas ones that we don't have.
Yeah, the canvas bag market has already crashed.
Yeah, because of the world canvas shortage.
Oh boy.
Definitely have, and that isn't just a pathetic excuse from an incompetent developer.
So we can follow up on the foreshadowing I started earlier, Fern.
We did a lot of foreshadowing, so take your pick.
Well, the one I was specifically throwing out explicitly was the Smash one.
The Smash one? Okay.
So,
Smash!
Nintendo had a bit of a problem with the update to Smash that had Piranha Plant. And when I saw this, I was very glad I didn't jump into play day one and have been waiting for some kind of follow-up to say this isn't the problem anymore. Apparently, it doesn't happen 100% of the time. But sometimes, doing certain combinations of things in the main menu, entering certain game modes with certain characters, will delete your save file.
Yeah.
And for somebody that has a 100% save file, I ain't touching that patch with the 10-foot pole.
Yeah. So don't worry too much. If you do lose it, you can pull it back off the cloud. But
yeah, you have to update it to the cloud first.
I'm going to take that sort of risk.
Yeah.
It's still a pain in the neck.
Yeah, and as somebody that has 100% of the game and quite likes their 100% save file and would like it to stay exactly where it is, I'm not touching that patch with a 10-foot pole.
So yeah, the good news is Piranha Plant actually came out early. Bad news, it breaks your saves. So
yeah,
well done, Nintendo.
Good job.
I have had a bit of a play.
Why? Does nobody test anything anymore?
No.
Fallout 76 was a thing. That's your answer.
Ugh. It's not the only
that's
thing
Bethesda.
either.
Bethesda have never tested anything before. But
yeah, they haven't.
It seems like everybody else just wants to have a go as well.
I mean, I don't know. Nintendo and online have always been a problem. So, I don't know. They just
but
it
was usually for lack of trying. It wasn't that, oh, well, it's actually broken.
Well, they're playing catch-up.
They're playing
now
catch-up.
getting to the point where their patches actually break the game.
Oh, dear. We do not want you to fall in line with the rest of the industry, Nintendo. The rest of the industry is bad.
It's like hoping that their archaic ways keep them held back from the disaster that's happening so that when they do finally catch up, they'll take a different path. But no. Just, Nintendo. But yeah, there is no consistent agreement on what causes it to happen, just that it is happening.
Yeah, it's all kind of up in the air and very vague at the moment.
and no official response on if it's been fixed or not from Nintendo, or if they're working on it or what.
From what I can tell, there is no iterative patch, so it's still patch 2.0. So no fix yet.
Yeah, not going to play until that gets to 2.1 and I get a confirmation this is stopped.
Oh, well. It's not often we actually get to talk about Nintendo breaking a game.
Well, they still seem to have like the remaining residue of a mentality where you actually try and finish the game before it comes out.
Yes, you know, that thing called integrity and respect for your customers. Also, Federation Force, but we don't talk about that. So yeah, that was a thing, and it's still an ongoing thing. So yeah, just be mindful of it, and yeah, if you do cop it, just back up from your cloud.
Yeah, if you play Smash, you probably have paid for their online service, so you have cloud storage.
Yeah. Incidentally, if you have got the game and you do not see Piranha Plant, just check your emails. There should be a code you have to enter if you bought it digitally.
Yeah, there was a registration thingy when the game first came out that you could key in, but yeah. If you didn't do that, you should have an email if you bought the game.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Piranha Plant is actually very, very odd to play.
I can believe
it's a plant.
It's a plant in a pot. It does.
How does it move?
Well, it does. This one, it spits spiky balls. It throws out a big old poison cloud, and it does this weird head stretchy thing for its down B, which does a lot of damage, but is really, really difficult to aim. So you charge up your down B, and then while you're charging, you push left and right to basically tip the pot over. And then the Piranha Plant will shoot out from whatever way it's pointing. Good luck actually hitting anything with it, though.
What's his final smash?
He summons PD Piranha.
Oh, okay.
So if PD actually manages to catch another player on the full hit, they get locked up in the cages he's carrying, bash on the floor. Otherwise, he just jumps on things.
Nice. Yeah, the only when I think of big scary piranha plants, I think of either PD Piranha from Super Mario Sunshine, or I think of the one from Super Mario RPG.
Mm-hmm. I think they're all the same variations of PD Piranha.
Yeah, well, there was one that was just a regular piranha plant in Super Mario RPG, where the Shy Guy just comes up to it and dumps fertilizer on it and waters it. And it grows into like this 3-headed monstrosity that's as big as a wall. And you have to kill all 3 of the heads.
Good times. Okay. Whoever designed... Just bring it back to Subnautica for a moment. A pox on whoever came up with these annoying teleport squid things. I'm walking around in a lava zone, so in my my prawn suit, and these things keep teleporting me out of said prawn suit. Humans boil. They boil quite nicely. Why do this, game developers? Why?
They go good with a side of gravy, I think. You put gravy on humans, right?
Maybe?
I don't know.
Oh dear.
We have other news.
We do.
Like to pick something.
Let me see. Well, we've got the stuff from PlayStation Plus, if you want to have a look at that.
Sure. The big thing here isn't so much the games, though. It's the other bit, as I mentioned. This was the other thing I was going to post, but Fern got it before I could drop it in right before the show. So there's games. We'll get to those in a sec. The important thing about this update is because this is the last month, I believe, that we get PS3 and PS Vita games.
Mm-hmm.
They have shown us how they're going to compensate for those going away. At least that's the public description. I haven't seen an official statement that that's the reason we're getting this. But they're adding 90 gigabytes of storage to the cloud storage for people on PS. So you go from the 10 gigs right now to 100.
Yep.
Which Abo has been very happy about, because being in the Dreams beta and making maps and games and game modes for that apparently is several gigs big per save he uploads to the cloud.
Dreams. Oh, right. That really weird looking game by the Little Big Planet guys.
Yeah, he's gotten even bigger in that game. Our resident Abo has become a big shot in that game in the closed beta. Apparently, on top of the developers giving him a shout out and playing his game on a live stream and giving them their official like and endorsement, he got officially liked and endorsed by Giant Bomb too for his Super Monkey Ball clone.
Nice.
So he's a big shot in that closed beta.
Very
he keeps coming to me for ideas, and I tell him it's a terrible idea.
Just keep giving him the worst ideas you can.
I told him to make a beach level and put big hairy men on it.
Ugh. No, don't do that.
He almost did it.
Call it Cheesecake Beach or something, I don't know. Really troll people.
Have to roll the little monkey ball into the budgie smuggler.
No! No!
Why would you do that?
Why? So, let's get off horrible mental images. The games we will be getting for PlayStation Plus is For Honor. Does anyone actually play For Honor anymore?
For Honor had that huge debacle with the way its netcode was set up when it launched.
As in, it was non-functional.
That is to say, it was a pile of garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they try to use peer-to-peer and had a cheating problem because of it, and they wondered why?
I believe that was For Honor. Sounds familiar.
That sounds correct, but I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Yeah. So, I honestly don't care about For Honor. They did do an expansion where they added Japanese soldiers into it. I think it was.
No, it was Chinese ones. Japanese ones were in from the...
Oh, that's right. I'm getting it backwards. Yes. So, yeah. That's a thing, but it's not a game that's really appealed to me even slightly.
I was like modestly interested, but the reality is that I'm not going to buy it day one, and it was justified not to buy it day one.
No.
And now it's free.
Yeah, it's a free-to-play game. It's quite aside from what it being on PS Plus. I'm fairly sure that it has a free-to-play version now on Steam.
Hmm.
Possible. I have no idea.
It's not even really like we're getting very much on PS Plus.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh.
Yeah, and the next one is the Hitman Move.
Yes, Hitman 2016. Which was actually supposedly pretty good.
I heard okay things about
it.
I played the older Hitman games before the reboot. A few of them, but I didn't play the reboot at all. So,
right.
I don't know.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. What was that, Fern?
There's some kind of giant ball of tentacles hanging around in this cave.
Is he?
I might just avoid the giant ball of tentacles.
Yeah, cannot watch your stream at the same time, or the internet will really go silly.
So yeah, Hitman. I could take a look at that game.
It depends on how big the download is. TBH. How much do I have to shuffle my hard drives?
Yeah, you might want to uninstall some games. Like Street Fighter.
I did already. Many, like over a year ago at this point.
Yeah. Good grief, that game took up a whole lot of space.
Yeah.
Alright, next game. Dive Kick. Dive Kick is really dumb.
PS3.
Yeah, on the PS3. It's a dumb game, but it is surprisingly a lot of fun.
I remember when that game first came out, I bought it on PC and got really, really, really drunk that night with a lot of people playing.
Yeah, you did. So yeah,
I don't remember.
It's a fighting game where you have two buttons, dive and kick. The whole idea is you jump up above the enemy, your other opponent, and you kick them in the head while they're trying to do the same to you.
It was made as a stab at games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The person that hit first, usually from a dive kick, would win the match anyway. So they just made it so that's all you have to do to win the match. No combos necessary.
Just kick them in the face and win.
Yeah, that was what originally started. And then it spiraled out of control into this big, ridiculous shenanigan where they started including like pro fighting game player Marn, and who eventually branched down to other stuff as a joke character while they were making fun of him and gave him like safety towel on his neck and stuff.
Yeah, the memes were real on that game.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm being attacked by a giant ball of tentacles. Oh, what the hell?
Oh my.
Ugh. I'm just going to get out of here, I think. Alright.
Oh, my connection is in the red, so that's one not participating very much.
The Discord is discording.
Yeah. They're in Rainland, so...
Yeah. Everything is moist.
Yeah, so next game. Metal Gear Solid 4, the movie.
Yeah.
The game.
The movie, the game.
The movie, the game.
The movie, the game. It had a lot of movies and significantly less game.
Yeah, the game infamous for its ridiculously long cutscene is getting free on PlayStation 3.
Isn't that the one with press F to pay respects?
No, that's Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm just thinking there's way too many funeral scenes in Metal Gear Solid.
I did play through Metal Gear Solid 4, and what there was of it, I enjoyed. Like, it wasn't too harsh for somebody like me who can't play action games worth a damn, and who can't play stealth games worth even less of a damn. So yeah, I found that it was.
Yeah.
The writing was awful.
The writing is complete nonsense. Yes.
That is more or less what I expected. But the fact is that the gameplay is still relatively competent, and you can derp about and do stupid things and torment the guards for no reason. Like that, I enjoy it.
Yeah, so you just got to wait for Kojima to do whatever Death Stranding's going to be, and you can get another slice of that.
Death Stranding, I'm not sure. Are there people who are excited for it? Because they've never shown anything that is exciting. So
I don't know. Honestly, everything I've seen about it has been confusing.
Yeah, but does anybody even know what it is yet?
Nope.
The one comment on its actual substance that I've seen from people who are insiders is that it is not anything like the game that it looks like it is. But I'm not sure what the game looks like it is. So.
I have no idea what it looks like. It's something about naked people who eat babies or something, or inhale babies. I don't know.
It's gonna play like Super Monkey Ballers.
Yeah, that sounds likely.
It's gonna be something really weird.
Abo is actually the lead developer.
The premier baby huffing sim.
Oh dear.
Maybe they should just
don't stick babies in jars, folks.
Maybe they should just come out and say what the game actually is. That would be nice.
Yeah. Because right now I'm about to make a whole lot of bad jokes about the state of some certain laws, especially in New
York. Yeah, do not.
I'm about to make a joke with that. I'm trying real hard not to, though.
Oh boy. All right.
I was about to make a meta joke about that, but honestly, it wasn't even. It's probably still within the range of unacceptable.
Oh dear. Yeah. So yeah, if you're thinking that way, it probably is. Right.
I'll let it hang.
The last
People can Google it if they want to find out.
Last couple of games are the usual little bits of faff. A cross-buy for PS4 and Vita, I believe, is Gunhouse. It's a tower defense game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rogue Aces, which is a...
indie garbage plane flying explosion thing.
Bullet hell type dealy, if I recall.
Yeah, maybe not quite. It just looks like indie garbage. Not worth even really looking into. Could be good. I have no idea. It doesn't look that great from the screenshots. Looks like indie garbage.
There's always one real kind of cheap looking indie game in there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the PS Plus games.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, some good picks. Meh. Lots of meh.
Yeah.
Dear. Okay. What's the next bit of news we have?
You posted the other ones, Fern, so...
Let's see indeed. Well, we've got more nonsense about Fallout 76.
I just like the name of this article, Fern.
I know, it's the best word ever.
Armageddon.
Armageddon. I'm guessing it's an apocalypse involving a lot of paperwork. So
I think they're referencing the bags. And how all the canvas in the world has disappeared.
Yeah. So essentially this article is just a little bit of an update as to what's going on with that class action lawsuit. To quote the solicitor who's doing it, is they're about to unleash Armageddon on them. They have a whole bunch of arbitrations and things like that against them for lack of refunds and all of that, and as soon as the time period for response is up, they're going to action a lot of them.
In the meantime, Bethesda decided to release a monthly t-shirt subscription.
Yes. Do tell.
This just, as far as I'm concerned, this goes to support my theory from last week that they had a mountain of merch ready because they were convinced that this was going to be the next big thing.
Mm-hmm. And they were
which
wrong.
means that
So
the
very,
marketing
very
division
wrong.
must have been completely divorced from their development division in order to be convinced of that. But
That usually seems to be the way it goes.
Yeah, so apparently they, in the wake of their disastrous and universally mocked attempt to sell a leather jacket, which manages more like a tarpaulin.
It does. It looks so terrible.
They have now got a program where you can. It seems like that you subscribe and you get a T-shirt each month, which is like in line with their properties. So,
dear.
I presume this means that they've just got an enormous backlog of merch and they need to somehow con people and taking it off their hands.
Please take our crap. We don't want it anymore.
The main reason, I think that actually saying that they were dumb enough to think that Fallout 76 was going to be the next big thing is actually the most charitable interpretation, because the alternative is that they actually don't realize how stupid they look given their present reputation as it is right now this minute, trying to sell more merch for their game.
Yeah.
There is no good interpretation. They're just stupid. They're really stupid. Really, really stupid. And completely self-unaware.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But, well, I mean, Fallout 76 is still a thing, and honestly, I think that they're losing more from PR disaster after PR disaster than they would if they said, you know what, sod it, we screwed up. We're just ditching this Fallout 76 project entirely, and we're gonna cut our losses.
A lot of people, I think,
while
would
we're
be,
ahead, we can't possibly make it.
Yeah. People, I think, would be a lot more forgiving if they came out and just said, we done goofed, we screwed up, we're going to try and make this right. Instead of, trying to carry on and plot ahead like nothing's going wrong.
Yeah, well, they did try and fix Fallout 76, but they used the patch which was based on an old build. And yeah,
they broke it. They broke everything.
But yeah, they I'm not sure what the rationale was, but it sounded to me from the noises I was hearing like they tried to put a collar on the backlash from the introduction of a whole bunch of old bugs, and that they were just, deleting posts about it.
Because of
I don't know that. I didn't do first-hand research on this, so I don't know for sure if the situation as reported by people is the situation as it actually appears in practice on the ground. But it sounded like they were just trying to tamp down on all the negativity rather than, learning their lessons.
just take the hit.
But who does that anymore in the games industry?
I know, right? Never admit fault. Oh, dear. Let's talk about something good, shall we? Something that Fallout 76 probably isn't going to do. A Realm Reborn. Final Fantasy 14.
I haven't been following up on it lately. Because if I do, I'll have the urge to go back.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge animus against it the way I do against World of Warcraft, but I don't have the time to be absorbed in MMO.
So, Square Enix put out a new trailer for their upcoming expansion, Shadowbringers, which, from what I can tell, is the Warrior of Light needs to go emo mode for some reason. I don't know why.
No, there's a whole bunch of really wonky Final Fantasy style cosmology involving Xehanauts or something. I don't know.
Could be.
There's a whole bunch of weird cosmology, and if I had to guess, I would say it's that the cosmos is probably falling out of balance because you keep winning.
Yeah.
And so basically the cosmos is going to end up trying to put the boots to you to stop you throwing things too far out of balance between Shadow
and stop being so damn good.
That would be my guess, just looking at the aesthetic.
Yep.
And knowing a little bit about how Final Fantasy cosmology tends to operate, but of course I'm just speculating.
Yeah. We don't know a whole lot about the plot at this point. We do know that there's, from this expanded trailer, that some characters who we thought were dead are apparently not. They disappear and take a level in either badass or toddler being, I guess.
Well, you didn't play the last expansion or half of the expansion there.
Yeah, and I need to go back and actually play Stormblood so I can figure out what on earth is going on. So, yes, why is a much-loved phone addict suddenly a creepy blue-eyed toddler?
Did you even finish Heavenswood?
No, I don't think I actually hit the ends of Heavenswood. I kind of went off on this whole tangent of learning how to be a ninja.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in there that tends to be very distracting.
Yeah, and if you're not careful, you just end up tangenting off somewhere completely different. They also gave us a look at the first expansion class. Apparently, the Blue Mage doesn't count, I guess.
Well, it's because it's already out.
Yeah, it is. And it's you get a Gunblade. You're essentially Squall. It is a new tanking class.
Still desperately trying to alleviate that tank shortage.
Yeah. So yeah, you play Squall and you get tank.
I've been very unhappy with their tanking balance in the past. It always seems to skew wildly one way or another, and I'm not very confident in their ability to introduce another tank without making Paladin even more irrelevant.
Yeah. They've also added a few more little bits and pieces. One thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense is the adding of the Viera as a playable race, which are the bunny people from Final Fantasy 12.
It makes plenty of sense. That's been called for since day one.
Well, yeah. Did they have to be so?
And there's in-universe
skimpy?
overlaps between. There's in-universe overlaps between the two worlds. The ones where the Viera live, the one in Eorzea. Those two worlds are pretty closely connected.
Gilgamesh doesn't count, by the way.
Well, there's always a Gilgamesh.
It's always the same Gilgamesh.
And to answer your question, Fern, yes, they have to be that skimpy. That's actually more conservative they were in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Like, did you see?
Well, that's okay.
In the kid-friendly Nintendo Power booklet for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, you could see their nipples.
Oh, right. I forgot about the nipples. Well, I was going to say this actually did get explained by one of the lead designers of the upcoming raid to come with it. They've got Yoko Taro in. You know, the Nier guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yoko Taro does two things. Weirdness and cheesecake. Mostly weirdness. Also cheesecake.
Or just weird booties.
Weird cheesecake?
He likes weird things with booties.
Yeah, that he does. So, yeah, enjoy your bunny girls.
That's what Yoko Taro does. Weird things with booties.
So now we're going to get a raid with gratuitous panty shots.
Or just, it's just going to be a booty.
It's going to be a raid where the story doesn't make any sense unless you read, like, a backstory tome the size of a dictionary.
And go watch the stage plays all associated with it that they'll release over time, including after the product has been released.
Yeah.
I saw some clips of the Babylonia stage play during the week. I'm so envious that I can't go and see these.
It'll leak on YouTube sooner or later.
Yeah, but it won't be subtitled. That's the problem. Like, from what I could tell, nobody has ever bothered to subtitle one. Like, there are Blu-ray releases of the stage shows part, but nobody's ever bothered to, put up a rip of them or anything. Because I'm pretty sure that there's not an official translation. I could be wrong about that, but, to actually import a Blu-ray of one of the stage shows, by my eyeball estimate, would probably cost me about $150.
Oh, yeah. It is not cheap.
And Blu-rays in Japan are expensive enough as it is without trying to move them to a different country.
Oh, dear. Abo's been going on and on about the live performance stage shows for Idaru's and that he got for Christmas on Blu-ray. That was the only thing he asked for was all the boxes for the Idaru Blu-rays from the last Cinderella Girls era.
Good grief.
He is really into those Idaru.
Yeah.
I did spend an irresponsible amount of money this week buying Blu-rays myself, so I can't really criticize the accumulation of optical media, as I picked up a couple of... I picked up the Irregular Magic High School movie. I picked up what's the other one that I decided I'd get a copy of Fate Grand Order First Order because I wanted one just to have it. And I put down pre-orders for the special edition of the first Heaven's Feel movie and the first half of Fate Apocrypha.
Nice.
I feel comfortable pre-ordering things that I've actually watched before. There's unlikely to be a drastic quality decrease.
That it does happen, but not that often.
Well, considering the thing that spoiled Apocrypha, apart from the appalling writing for the protagonist and for Atlante, the thing that spoiled me the most, spoiled Apocrypha for me the most, was the super aggressive contrast reductions during combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It became really hard to watch in places, much like various parts of Unlimited Blade Works did.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully all that stuff is gone on Blu-ray releases.
With any luck.
Yeah. I don't know how, yeah. I don't know.
We didn't get an Unlimited Blade Works release, and didn't get a proper one in Oceania because Hanabi bought the license and did half of it. The other half, I think they did the other half in DVD only, or something annoying like that.
Ooh.
Just to make me... So I'll probably have to... I don't know, how do regions of Blu-rays even work?
I was under the impression Blu-rays weren't region locked, so I could be wrong.
How confident are you about that?
Not very. Okay, so that is all based on the fact that the PS3 wasn't region locked, and that's what everybody I know uses to play Blu-rays, PS3, PS4. But there was the Persona 4 Arena debacle, and that was technically on a Blu-ray drive that for some reason couldn't work on the PS3, so I have no idea.
Okay, so basically, I'm looking at the wiki page now. Basically, there are 3 regions, but a lot of major studios release region-free versions. But there are, technically speaking, region codes.
Okay.
And New Zealand and Australia are on the same one as Europe, UK, and Africa.
Okay. So we get most of the world.
Yeah, so I can. Well,
you're in the same boat as Africa.
The Americas are where most of the localization is the problem.
Sadly, yes.
How does it feel to be in the same boat as Africa?
Eh.
They lump you in with Africa.
We've been lumping with for a while.
They got to put them somewhere, I guess.
There's a group I don't want to be in a country that's lumped in with. It's Africa.
Nah, there's plenty worse. Alright, I think that's about it for news.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Why are you cutting it short?
Well, I don't... There is, of course, the Epic Store. I don't want to talk about that. You can talk about the Epic Store if you really want to.
Well, there's plenty of stuff to talk. For instance, the financial projection for the games industry going forward are coming out, and it looks like the gaming crash is well and truly underway, because the industry projections are for the first downturn in decades in revenues generated by the industry as a whole. So basically, video games as a moneymaker are contracting.
Yes.
Yeah. And just watch, they're all going to blame it on the consumers and not their terrible, terrible practices as businesses.
Oh, they're already doing that. The commentariat are doing that, and they're doing it from every imaginable angle. But
because they are, at the end of the day, shills.
Well, yeah, they need the industry to be as bloated and corrupt as possible in order for them to make any money. Because they exist as a function of corruption. Their whole shtick. But this is reflected in each of the individual companies, the large ones, and that stock movements have shown that pretty much all their C-level executives are basically turning their stock into liquid as fast as possible. And these are the people that can actually see the financial conditions of the big dogs like Blizzard, Activision, and EA, and that. They know what the financial projections look like because they're privileged with information from the very top. And yeah, they're liquidating their stock, which shows that on the level that they are at, they can see that there's it's very, very likely that they will be in financial dire straits before too long.
Things are going bad.
But nobody's changing their behavior. That's the thing. No, as far as their practices as publishers and people who are producing a product for sale, for market, they aren't changing any of their practices. They're just, staying the course and making as much money in personal pocket as possible as fast as possible. That's not really... It's not what I would like to happen, because I would rather, we develop some sort of integrity, but I think we're going to have to wait for those the big one just burned.
Yeah.
We should see at least one of them catch fire at the end of the month with EA. I imagine they'll have to try and put out the BioWare fire by the end of the month. The way things are going for Anthem.
EA's got bigger problems on their plate in that a humongous amount of their money was made out of loot boxes. Increasing numbers of countries are passing laws that they have to be regulated as gambling.
Yeah, they were basically told GTFO by Belgium the other day, for example.
Yeah, and so they're having a lot of other companies are smelling this change on the wind and trying to come up with contingency plans. EA is the one who is taking it on the chin because because of the popularity of FIFA basically and other similar titles and their monetization systems. They are basically attracting the most attention.
Yeah.
And as such, they are the ones most likely to be facing lawsuits if they try anything too fresh. And that is, while they have insisted that this doesn't impact their bottom line, I doubt it. I doubt it. They're just going to fill the figures so it doesn't look like. But yeah, but I haven't seen the information on this, so I don't know for sure. I haven't read the study, but apparently studies have shown that the number of people who are required to take up microtransactions, like, you know, the nickel and diming you to death microtransactions, the amount of market penetration required, or sub-market penetration required for your market of people who have already purchased your product, in order for it to be worth putting vicious microtransactions in, is 8%. You only need 8% of your user base to buy in order to justify it. So they're just not going to go anywhere. They're going to just find more and more ways to try and make up that lost revenue in other ways. So, yeah, not great.
Not great.
Industry finding more and more ways to fall apart. But yeah, and in related news, I suppose, the financials for games aren't that great. Like, they're by far the biggest single chain of brick and mortar games retailers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think it's doubtful that they will still exist in 2020. Let's just say that.
Yeah, at least in their current form.
I mean, at all. I'm not talking about current form. I think they're going to disappear off the face of the earth.
That would be nice.
Unless they liquidate everything and reimagine themselves as a competitor to Steam.
Yep.
From scratch and do a good job of it, which seems impossible given what we've been seeing lately.
Yeah.
There's no way that GameStop will continue to exist.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll either be that or they just go entirely 100% into merch.
I don't.
Yeah, I know.
They'll become the Funko Pop store.
Yeah. That's the other form I can see them taking.
I have watched over the years at my local GameStop as the front, you go to the counter to check out. In front of it, they used to have like game guides and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Zerg Creep.
It's just over time, Funko Pop Creep has just started appearing on that desk, and just the entire front of it is now covered in Funko Pop stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's why
I've seen the exact same thing at all our local EBs.
Yeah,
it starts off with a tiny little display, and it crawls across the wall, and eventually it's like a 3-meter high display from floor, literally from touching the floor to touching the ceiling. Entire walls of Funko. I've never seen anybody purchase one.
It gets even worse, actually, because if you go to the bigger stops now, they've got the pop culture section, as they're calling it, pop culture. I know
the merch corner.
Yeah, it's essentially a secondary business that's kind of latched on like some sort of parasite, and it's all Funko Pops.
I've never ever seen anybody take a single product from the merch section to the counter at any visit to GameStop ever.
It's really like Cordyceps or something, though. Like it controls the business. It's a parasite, but it controls the business.
Yeah, the business is dead,
and eventually kills it.
Yeah,
yeah. There's got to be some kind of like season when like the soccer moms come in or something and just buy out that whole shelf.
Christmas
to justify it being there. I didn't even see them at Christmas. The store was packed at Christmas, and I didn't see a single person with any of the stuff from the merch side. The merch side was still full of.
I see stories online about people who have like got a pathological addiction to purchasing Funko Pop. So there must be a few people who just wail on them, basically.
I guess.
Like I think that this is a situation where nobody ever buys one or two unless they're buying one for someone else because they don't have a clue about what constitutes a good gift for a video game player. But I think that it's a whale situation where there are some people that just get infected with the urge to purchase all of them.
Yeah, and looking at each figure, I guess they can't cost much to make. At all.
They're hideous.
Well, they're
absolutely hideous, and they're all identical. But I've heard that there are some people who don't mind the Cuphead ones because apparently they actually look like Cuphead characters. But I don't know myself because I don't have any clue what they look like. But
I've seen them in people's rooms. Yeah, I have seen them in people's houses and rooms before, and I just kind of like, why? You can buy 2 of those, or you can go on like Amazon or eBay or something and get a nice figure for the same price.
Or you could talk to Avo and get it at the same price.
Yeah. Or you could do that.
I don't know.
Yep.
So yeah, that's I think is more likely where GameStop is going to go. They're just going to double down on the pointless tat.
I don't know. They had the they were talking about selling the company, but they pulled all plans from it this quarter, like just as soon as the new year started.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So I don't know what's up with them.
Yeah, the reality is that their numbers can't support their continued existence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Like they've got plenty of liquid right now, and they've got plenty of assets, but they don't have a future. That's the thing, because the market's contracting.
In addition,
the market, their sector of the market has been contracting far more rapidly than any other. Like the only section of the market that is expanding rapidly is mobile games. Obvious, yeah. As we discovered, the single most talked about game on social media in 2018 was Fate Grand Order.
Yeah.
At one close. So
I'm still
the mobile games are expanding rapidly.
Yeah, still banking on most of that discussion being something along the lines of gacha.
No, I think that the reason why was that because Solomon happened, there would have been a lot of back and forth updating people about the pillars, the status of the pillars at any given point in time, because that's a massive, like, community-wide cooperative event.
Mm-hmm.
Barbados dying quickly. You need to log on right now. Get your few kills in before Barbados. Oh, and he's dead.
He got.
Yep. I think I got maybe like 5 or 10 kills in before he died.
That's about how many I got in. I had to go to work.
Working. Yeah.
I beat up Floros though. I did my due diligence on Floros.
Yeah. I think that's probably why it got the lead on social media, because that's such a big event for the entire community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what else? There were a few things. There was a bit of a debacle prior to the public release of the Anthem demo, due to leaked pictures of their microtransaction and their price points.
Yes.
It was like,
whose leak is this? Is this a leak that somebody has gone in and obtained information they aren't supposed to have, or is this a leak in inverted quotes in order to set player expectation?
Yeah, I think
we don't know.
The popular opinion is inverted quotes leak at this point.
Yeah. So what we're looking at here is prices in the range of, like, for a full skin is like at the $20 mark.
Mm-hmm.
For a $60 game you have to buy into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got a scattering of different prices for other smaller cosmetics, ranging from about $4 up to the $20. Now, this is something that we've seen before, this sort of price structure, from the now infamous Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be Battlefront 2 again, I would like to think.
You'd think, but yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people have slapped their tinfoil hats, and not without good reason, and they think that the scenario that's actually playing out here is that this is a testing the water to basically do a perception checking that, there's going to be huge backlash at this price, so that having checked and reassured themselves that yes, this is the untenable price point, our data is correct from our previous experiences, they can now look like, we're reacting to our customers, we're going to reduce the prices to make it friendlier to our market, when they never intended to actually release it at those prices. They just used that price point to gather data.
Yeah.
So
but we've seen them do it before. This exact scenario.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's incredibly cynical. It's just it's a way of manipulating the customer in order to, extract a little bit of extra money out of them by pretty much creating fake value. Because by dropping the price, they are creating an impression like you are getting more than you're actually getting at that price point, because they have stamped on the conscious this is $20 product. Even though you've reacted by saying, oh no, this isn't worth $20, they have stamped it with $20 so that when they give it to you for less than $20, it looks like you're being given. You're being given to. Like they're being generous. Because, we were going to nickel and dime you by this much, but now we're going to nickel and dime you by this less. So
this, aren't we the good guys?
It's not even really nickeling and diming at the $20 point, is it? So,
no, it's just dollaring.
And it goes hand in hand with their other very cynical sales tactics, like their multiple different release classes that they have. They're now viciously lampooned ways to play chart.
Did you see the tweet by? Did you see the tweet by one of the higher ups at BioWare doing all but giving EA a backhand for making them have to do that? There was some tweet that went out, and I forget who it was from BioWare itself, but they're like, "Yeah, if it was up to me, everybody'd be playing on the same day."
Oh boy!
Trying to clarify somebody tweeting him about the chart. So this is a now infamous chart named Ways to Play Anthem, and on the x-axis it has access dates ranging from February 1st, February 15th, full access, February 15th, temporary access, and February 22nd final release. And on the y-axis it has the standard pre-order, the Legion of Dawn pre-order, EA Access subscription version, Origin Access basic version, Origin Access Premier version. And it's got, checkboxes to show you which versions of games accompanied by which subscriptions allows access to which particular release dates and trials and temporary whatever. So it's this is one of those things has written in neon lights. This was not created by anybody on the development team. This is what some bean counter has come up with in order to extract the calculated maximum dollars from the market.
When you get pre-order versions where you can play it on the 15th, but you can only play it for, 10 hours?
This is the most divorced from the concept of playing a video game piece of peripheral information about a video game that I've ever seen. This is it's so, I don't know. It's like it's you can tell that the mindset that creates a chart like this is completely alien to the mindset that plays a video game.
I just say it's completely alien to a human mind at this point.
Like this was come up with by one of the things living in Rylairs. Like this is what we're looking at here. to drive men mad when they gaze upon it is the point.
Yeah.
But they got viciously lampooned over this. Everybody thought it was absurd. This is the latest in yet another PR disaster for an EA subsidiary. And to tie this back to the microtransaction thing. The microtransaction thing is a risk. Much in the way this Ways to Play chart is, they're trying to extract more money. What they are risking on that bet is their optics. Because the Ways to Play chart makes them look like aliens, and the microtransaction pricing schedule makes them look like greedy monsters. So at every stage, they are trading their image for a few extra dollars. And eventually there's just nothing left to trade.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything you can give up anymore. Everybody just assumes that you're a greedy monster. So they need some counterbalance for this. And I think that part of what they're doing in order to counterbalance this is their big secret release thing that everybody is talking about. So it's clearly, blatantly not meant to actually be a secret. But new Titanfall universe game that's coming out Monday, supposedly already in complete and playable form on Monday. So, yeah, this is what is allegedly happening, and they're all rumors. But the fact that everybody independently seems to have received the exact same rumor, and everybody is reporting on it now, thinking that they've got the scoop, suggests to me that it's an operation that's being run by the Kenya half of the EA marketing department, and the release this is basically a way of, number one, they're probably establishing a title to have people play that does not require $60 of outlay. Because most people suspect that this is going to be a free-to-play game, which is loaded with microtransactions, but it is essentially a free-to-play game. Maybe a competitor to Fortnite type of thing. Because everybody seems to think they can compete with Fortnite.
Yeah.
And the secondary effect of this is it will provide them cover to basically regen their health from whatever damage has been dealt to the image of Anthem just prior to the Anthem release. So there's quite a bit of cover going to be offered by EA dropping a new game right in the face of the big BioWare release. So there is a market strategy going on here, but it's sort of a Rube Goldberg machine where if any part of it ceases to work, the whole thing goes up in flames.
Yep. I could see that, I guess, but I'm just waiting for him to come out and say, hey, it's Titanfall on the mobile. Because that's exactly the sort of genre-blind thing that they'll do.
Titanfall Immortal.
Titanfall Immortal. Done.
I would like to think that what I'd like to believe is that the eggheads at these big companies are at least canny enough that, like, a situation where they're all standing waiting to go on stage, metaphorically speaking, and they see Blizzard go on stage and announce Diablo Immortal and everything goes pear-shaped, and they just sort of like shuffle aside and try and hide the mobile game they're holding behind their back.
Yeah.
And quickly look for a covert exit. That's what I'm hoping would happen.
I'd like to believe that, but all the evidence points to the complete opposite of that happening.
Yeah. They need to manage their PR. My goodness, they're blowing it over and over and over again. Quite ridiculous.
It's getting bad, yeah. It's getting really bad.
Your customers should not be able to look at you with a straight face and say, we can do marketing better than your marketing guys can. But every single games company is in that position right now. Or any of their regular customers could do a better job than the people they've paid money to do marketing for them.
Right, so next in line for the gear team then is Epic. So Epic are currently the reigning juggernauts in the games industry because they created the Fortnite phenomenon. Now, I don't know where in its life cycle Fortnite. I don't know if we are seeing sort of like it's peaking now, or if it's going to continue growing, or it's had its day and it's just going to slowly peter out. But regardless, they made an enormous amount of money, and as we've talked about in the past, they are opening a store, an online store built into their launcher, which is basically just a corollary piece of software for Fortnite at present, as far as I understand. But the point is, we previously were tentatively positive about it because it sounds on paper like it represents competition for Steam, and Steam desperately needs competition. They really badly need someone to motivate them to be better because they've done very little but rest on their laurels for the most part lately. Think of how unbelievably far behind, even post-update, their social systems are compared to what Discord. They're not trying to keep up with the times. They have an incredibly brutal cut that they take from developers, and nobody has been around to offer a better deal, and so on. So it looked like it might be a good thing for Epic to come out with a new storefront to compete with Steam. Unfortunately, it looks like they really aren't competing with Steam in a way that is customer facing. Rather, they're competing in a way that is industry facing. Mm-hmm. That is to say, they're giving the industry all of the power, where Steam has historically given a very strangely large amount of power to the consumer to decide what is successful and what is not. So they've got the storefront, but the only thing they seem to be interested in is buying exclusive. They copped a lot of flack early on because they didn't have a returns policy the way Steam did. And it became clear very, very, very quick that even the casual Steam user considered this a no-deal proposition out the gate. Like, yep. No, I won't spend a cent. Which is, surprisingly coherent considering the average customer. But the corollary, and the one that's been war being fought on much more subtle ground, is the reviews issue. And we've mentioned this on the show before, that they don't have the reviews. They've decided to introduce one now, except it's meaning that it's entirely industry facing again. The only purpose that this will serve is if you come out and the critical reaction is good enough that you can use it as a market. Otherwise you just don't need to opt in. Nobody will ever see the thousands of people who hate your game if it sucks.
Yes.
So it's not designed to help consumers at all. It's just designed as a marketing tool to be used by the people who are selling their wares on the store, and that's all. So this is sort of like a weather vane that shows the way things are blowing at Epic. And the short version is that they aren't interested in being a competitor to Steam in any arena other than money. So they aren't planning to offer value to consumers. So from a consumer standpoint, they aren't actually a competitor, because if you look at on the base level, there are two types of ways to acquire games: to purchase them and to steal. People purchase them when stealing them is worse.
Yes.
And Steam managed to make stealing them worse. So a lot of people now purchase their games rather than stealing them. Now, Epic is not doing anything to improve on that formula. In fact, they're making it worse. So they aren't actually a competitor. They're not offering additional services which place them on Steam's tier where they can then compete on price. They are instead purchasing exclusives and the right to sell at lower prices and so on and so forth, which basically requires you to say, okay, so I will spend $10 less on this game in exchange for selling out, basically. You're going to place the industry in a position of power over you, where you don't have the ability to offer direct feedback on the storefront, where you're pretty much at their mercy. So
this is all without talking about the fact that the Epic Store forces Fortnite on your system and is an encumbering piece of garbage.
Yep. There's also
the proliferation of launches is pretty much an intractable problem. Like, as long as Steam is taking their massive 30% cut, on top of the way money is already divided between a publisher and developer, taking another 30% out of that is pretty brutal. But that's we're going to see a proliferation in launches. There's no way around it. I don't like it. You don't like it. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to install more bloatware on their system. It's just a reality. However, instead of forcing Steam to compete on quality of service, the only thing that they're doing is competing on price. The only thing that they're doing is throwing money power at it. So that's not something aimed at making things better for the consumer. You can argue, the consumer has to pay less for games. Well, yes, but they lose all their services in doing it.
Yes.
If you use the Epic Game Store, you don't have any of the forums. You don't have any of the support for mod distribution and user created content. You don't have any of that stuff that Steam does at all. So they're not actually providing a surface that is meaningfully competitive. Discord, on the other hand, is trying to do that. honestly don't believe very much in their potential for success, but they are doing it right by creating an environment that is not directly, but at least on some metaphysical level analogous to what Steam provides, because it's got a community system, because they've got a store built in there, because you have communication mechanisms built in. So they are trying to compete with Steam. Epic Games is not trying to compete. Neither is the Bethesda launcher, neither is the Blizzard launcher. None of these to compete competition for Steam. And Steam needs a real competitor. In order for them to improve their service, there needs to be somebody else who is also improving their service. Just making it one game cheaper for 12 months is not improving your service. That's not going to help the market in the long run at all. Might save you $10 in the short term, but in the long term, you'll buy more games that are better.
What's really not going to draw people to your platform is taking an expected game and a week before launch, declaring it as an exclusive.
After people had pre-ordered it on the other platform.
Yes. So the latest for them to do this, it's not by means the first, is the new Metro game. And people are pissed.
Yep, but naturally the shills are all on the usual side of saying that, oh, well, Steam has spent years cultivating a culture of toxic gamers, and that's the reason why people are upset.
What? No.
How can you even write these articles with a straight face? Like, how on the take do you have to be? The primary offender, if I recall correctly this time, is, guess who? Nathan Grayson.
Of course it is.
Mr. I will help any woman sleep their way to the top.
Mm-hmm. He is the takingest.
So yeah, just the entire games industry at that large dollar level is turned into a complete cesspool.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody is racing to the bottom to be the least ethical company, the least pro-consumer company, the least of every category, most notably of quality game. And people are going to start to notice. Lots of people already have. I'm very, as much as I am naturally very critical and suspicious of YouTube celebs and the YouTube quote community unquote, etc., etc. I've been very proud to see that pretty much every single one of the popular YouTube commentators has taken up the refrain, don't pre-order until it comes out, don't pre-order until it comes out. And this is starting to become the normal message. Yes. And it's really heartening to see that there's a sort of a counterculture in how you approach purchasing games gradually beginning to emerge after people have been burned umpteen time. I mean, they should have learned earlier, but better late than never as far as I'm concerned.
They're only, how long have we been saying this? Like almost
since pre-order started being a thing.
Yeah.
The first game I ever pre-ordered was Unreal Tournament 2004. And that was because there actually were shortages in the city. And that was the same reason that I pre-ordered Dawn of War 2, because there were shortages. But
was
after
2004 the one with the melee combat?
What? Oh, no, 2004 was... 2004 was the polished up update to 2003, because 2003 was a mess. And 2003 was basically the engine upgrade tech demo of their new Unreal engine, and it was supposed to be like the big update following on from Unreal Tournament Classic.
Okay. I think like that one.
I think UT2K4 still holds up, to be honest. I think in a lot of ways it holds up better than UT3 does. But it was the one that introduced vehicle combat to the UT. But where was I? I don't even remember what I was talking about. People don't even make those games anymore. I'm really disappointed, but maybe they've gone the way that Battle Royales are liable to. But
you're talking about you pre-ordered 2K 2004 and Dawn of War.
Yeah. So those were the first two pre-orders I made, and they were pretty much the last two pre-orders I made, because after making the second pre-order, I realized that, unless I actually have the inside information on the stock levels that are likely to be in place, there's actually no benefit to me doing this other than I don't have that money in case I need it for something. So that was where it started. Yeah. I've occasionally pre-ordered things since then, but it's always been things that the outcome doesn't matter. I was going to buy them anyway. Like anything Type Moon.
I got that Teddy bot bag from the Persona 4 Arena original. It's still in my bathroom. Teddy is still in my bathroom as a bot bag that I got for pre-order in that game.
Oh, no. Alright, we should start looking at wrapping up, by the way.
Alright.
Yep. So basically, the lesson of this show is we were a whole decade ahead of the games industry and YouTube people. Don't pre-order stuff.
Yeah. I'm actually just kind of heartened to say that a lot of people are really, really unbelievably skeptical about Anthem.
Yeah, from what I've seen, there's nothing bad about it. There's just not really anything
there's
special
just
either.
2 big letters that really cast a horrible shadow over the whole thing.
Yeah, it's from a major gaming publisher, and after the last year, there's no more skin left on people for companies to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's already been barbecued. So everybody's going to be skeptical about anything coming out of the major major publishers.
Yep.
So yeah.
Not your friends.
Email topic of the week. What's your favorite part of the video games industry going up in flames? Have you noticed anything we haven't talked about? There's a lot of fires, so we might have missed some.
Almost certainly.
Yep. Closing comments go.
What is time?
Time is what you trade to get money, so that you don't have any time to spend that money.
Oh, right. It becomes that thing you just never have.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You can have one or the other. You can't have both.
Yeah.
Don't grow up, kids. Just don't do it. Don't start taking an active role in your job. Don't have aspirations. Don't do that. Stay a kid forever. Never grow up, because if you do, you wind up like us.
Cynical.
No time to do anything.
Well, that too.
So yeah, I think we're done for this week, folks. Unless y'all got anything else, sending us out.
Yep, take us out.
All right, we'll see y'all next week. Sayonara, bye-bye.